So hi again, everybody. My name is Laura Depish. I'm the Vice President here at Bursch Travel. And we are joined this evening by Glenn, and he is going to tell us all about VBT as well as country walkers. It's not something that I think a lot of our travelers are aware of. So this is going to be not really a deep dive into any specific tour that they offer, but really what this type of vacation is and how that might be the right thing for you. So Glenn, I will let you take it away.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. I've had the fortune of working with these two great active brands for 10 years officially as of last week, and initially with Country Walkers and ultimately with VBT as well. I love the product. I have a lot of experience in the travel industry, managing hotels, working in a travel agency environment and owning a travel agency. And so I've been around, seen a lot of different products, but I've never had seen a type of product like this before or experienced it until I got out on my first Country Walkers tour and fell in love with it, made my switch to dedicate my career to promoting these great way of travel to people all around the United States and other parts of the world. Fortunately, I get to take tours too, which is really nice on a regular basis. I'll be heading out actually next week in Georgia and Florida, where I reside in Florida, and I'm currently in Georgia getting ready for that tour. So looking forward to that. We are part of a really great company called Xanterra. Not a household name. You're not sitting around the kitchen table saying, boy, what's Xanterra up to today? But you might be familiar with some of the great brands that we have in our portfolio: Windstar Cruises, Holiday Vacations, management of park lodges, Grand Canyon Railway and Hotel. And we're happy to be part of this great collection because they're very well backed and they really focus in on letting every company under the portfolio operate as they see fit and really focusing on their products and their products alone. Our main office is in Vermont. We're in the Burlington, Vermont area. We have staff located around the world. I mentioned I'm in Florida, but we do have staff that is located in Europe, other points in the United States, and we focus really on our tours to have local guides and leaders taking you through when you're traveling with us. We have 130 active itineraries. You'll see in a maps that I'm going to show you where exactly we go. We only do active travel, so we aren't doing mainstream type of experience as well, like big motor coach tours or big cruise ships or whatever it may be, all inclusives on the beach. We're only focused on bike tours and walking tours. And we have a great staff that I've had the pleasure of working with for a long time and that have been there long before me as well. So we're going to cover a little bit on an overview of the product. Like Laura had said, we are going to focus or at least highlight some of the domestic itineraries because that's a lot of people, are super interested in that because it's just a little easier to travel right now domestically. However, I will say our international tours rolled out last year in a more limited way than normal, but we are looking for a much more robust 2022 internationally. And we'll talk a little bit about our air packages that make traveling to our international tours very easy. So who travels with us? A lot of times people associate with active with the super athlete. You need to go out every weekend, get in your pack of riders and practice, and then come once a year and go on a tour. No, it's not. We're a very mainstream product, 50 plus. I will say that the average age has gone quite higher than that with the advent or availability of electronic bikes, which we'll talk about shortly. We have a lot of solo travelers that want to travel with us. They like the camaraderie of being part of a group when it's a group experience, or the fact that it's all outlined for them in a self-guided experience. And they're looking again at like-minded traveling companions, and we treat everyone the same quite well. Again, you got to enjoy being active, but you don't have to be a super athlete. You know, if someone wants to go and do nothing on their tour, no riding or no walking as an activity, it's probably not the ideal tour for them. We do have ways we compensate for the unknown factor, or the times when maybe someone would just want to take a little break, and we'll talk about that as we go through. And then, of course, a big part of our tours is using our bikes, using our feet as a means to experience a lot of cultural stops and other experiences to the area we're traveling to. So they really should be open-minded to learning about other parts of the world. Now, no matter what the brand, you're going to get these key elements, we call them. So on guided products, I mentioned the local guides, and we call them leaders on biking. And they are going to be there to take care of you the entire time when you're on tour, maintain the equipment, etc., guide you through all the different walks and rides and everything that encompasses our itineraries. You're going to have premium accommodations, boutique style hotels. I always like to say, you remember where you stay with us. We go to some real classic destinations like your Tuscanies of the world, and then some more off the beaten path places like Puglia, Italy, which is not typically on the top of the list of common tourist places, but it's a beautiful, wonderful place to go ride a bike and enjoy the countryside and the seaside. We rate all of our tours anything from easy up to challenging. Most of what we offer is easy to moderate. So again, good level activity, but you don't have to be a super athlete to conquer the tour. It is vacation at the end of the day. We include some great cuisine, always breakfast and about half of the lunches and dinners on our guided products. And the self-guided includes a variety of meals, all itinerary dependent, but it's always going to take in the local flavors and whip them up in a pan, and you're going to experience them and come back learning a lot about the food and the food cultures in the areas you travel to. We do offer those air packages I mentioned. And of course, we've been around for a long time. VBT since 1971, Country Walker since 1979. We only know how to operate safely. Safety is very important, but we know in the environment that the world is in over the last 2 years, we've really got to step up our game and make sure that everyone's happy and healthy on tour and leaving tour the same way. And all of our tours are multi-night experiences. Guided tours start at 5 nights. Self-guided, we do have a couple of offerings at 4, but for the most part, they're 5 nights or longer. And again, it varies. The further you get away from the United States with us, the longer the tour tends to be. So if you go to New Zealand, it could be 8 nights, 9 days on tour. We'll start with biking. We have what we call styles throughout our company. VBT has 3 styles. So there's guided biking. This is what we've done forever, since 1971. Small group experiences, no more than 20 people. 2 leaders, all your equipment, a multi-night, again, experience starting at 5 nights. We then take that same concept and we offer it 2 ways with waterways. So one would be a chartered barge or small ship experience. So that's called bike and boat. And then we partner with Emerald Cruises and we offer a bike and river cruise. So on our bike and river cruise, you are part of an Emerald departure, but our group is plopped within that. So you are regular guests on board the ship. You come to port, and there's all the great elements of our VBT bike tour at port: bikes, leaders, vans, support, everything that we include. And you're off doing the bike rides, cultural visits, everything. And then you come back and return to the ship and continue on as a Emerald passenger until the next stop. And that's when it repeats itself and you head off on some different rides. So really neat product, quite popular. And then we have our self-guided biking. So self-guided biking is independent, but everything is coordinated for you. We'll show you what's included in that and really what it's best for, the type of person that it's best for. we go 71 tours with VBT. We have over 30 countries that we go. And we know that these days some countries aren't quite open right now. So when I say 30, it may currently be a little lower than that, but our ideal schedule, our laid out schedule includes 30 countries. For instance, in New Zealand right now isn't accepting anyone, but at the end of the year, hopefully they will. So they'll be right into the circuit again. We have quite a few offerings in the United States, Canada. Really the greatest concentration of tours that we offer on our typical years are in Europe. And we go Europe really top to bottom, side to side. And within Europe, we probably offer the most tours within the country of Italy. I mentioned we'd show you some of our domestic destinations. Here's where we're going currently in the United States. We have guided and self-guided offerings. Mentioned I'll be heading out on our Florida tour, which is Georgia and Florida, and beautiful tour. We start in Jekyll Island. I'll show you some pictures of my recent trip on that from November. Really great experience, and you'll get an idea of what it looks like when you're out on tour. But you can see some really nice spread across the country. Great, beautiful areas where we're located there in Vermont, and again, some nice self-guided offerings as well. So what you get on a guided tour, mentioned briefly some of the elements, but here's how it lays out. Those local leaders, so they're going to bilingual, they're where you head to on tour. They're going to be with you the whole time. They're experienced in bicycle, maintenance, first aid, everything that you'd want, and someone leading you around, as well as the culture and the stories and the people and all that you'll interact with. They're going to be your front people for that. We include a great VBT bike equipment. So a custom fit bike, it's going to fit to your height during the reservation process. And then what style of bike do you want? Do you want a road bike, a hybrid bike, or an electronic assist bike? We provide all the safety gear, so a helmet, bag to use. All the bikes are equipped with lights, reflectors, bells, mirrors, everything that you'd want to safely operate. So all you need to do is show up with the clothing that you're going to wear to ride with. Everything will be ready for you. Great lodging, as I mentioned. I always like to say, you remember where you stay. So some small boutique, family-owned type of experiences, always in beautiful settings. So when you're maybe end of the day, we always allow a little free time before it's a group dinner or maybe some other activity or just a night on your own. You can relax by the pool, or you could, sit by the seaside and really enjoy the property itself. Because we do know that you're on vacation. We want to not keep you busy every second of every day riding a bicycle. So what we do is we'll use our bikes. We'll do segments of rides. So typically about 10 to 15 miles at a time. We'll do stops. So it could be as easy or simple as a snack stop, but every day has these great activities included, cooking classes, food tastings, all sorts of ways that you're going to take in the local area, and you're using bike as a method or means to get to these activities. So unlike if we were comparing it to a big motor coach or even renting a car and doing it yourself, you don't have to worry about being loaded on with 45 people and doing these experiences. It's all small group, and again, you're going to basically pilot yourself there, via bicycle. Most of our tours will average about 25 miles per day. There are short days, always the first day is a bit of a warm-up day, get used to your equipment, get properly, adjusted when you get on tour. And then it's almost like an arc where as you go towards the middle of the week, the mileage gets a little longer. But if someone isn't keen on doing any or all the mileage, they can always opt to jump in the support vehicle that's always going to be available on any ride. And that's not something you sign up for ahead of time. You could intend to go do the whole day's worth of rides and then maybe you're not feeling it, or you decide you want to do something different in the afternoon, you can opt out of those rides. Off you come off the road, your bike goes on the trailer or in the van, and so do you, and you're on to the next part of or next stop on the tour. So really reassuring, really good for people that might be a little uneasy about jumping on a bike and doing this, on a day-to-day basis for, 6 days or longer in some cases. So the support vehicle is quite important. I mentioned our bicycles. We use some really great equipment, Fuji bikes primarily, although we have had to shift to a couple of other same company-owned brands. Breezer is one that we got for e-bikes, but primarily Fuji, and we offer the hybrid fit on just about every tour. There's a couple of tours that have more of a customized fit, so everybody would ride something with a little bigger tire, and so forth. We offer road bikes on just about every tour. There are a few destinations like our Holland tour that we don't, and that's because they're really not necessary, and they could be a little dangerous in some of the areas that you ride in Holland, just because of the sheer number of bicycles that are going back and forth over there. So we found no real big need to have some super race bikes there. We go with the hybrid bike. And then our extremely popular choice is the e-bike, electronic assist bike. And if you've never rode on one of these, they're wonderful. A lot of people immediately will tell me that they're cheating and so forth. But honestly, if you've rode them or not, you know that pedaling is required. It doesn't move if you don't pedal it. It doesn't engage anything if you don't pedal at all. You can ask for the motor to assist you a little bit, or all the way up to a lot to turbo mode. Most people just engage it a little bit, and what it does when it feels resistance in the pedaling, it will quietly engage the motor, and you don't have to change your cadence of pedaling to get through the wind or get up a big hill or ride with someone that maybe you'd like to ride with, that you travel with, that might be a little bit more savvy or energetic on the bike at the time. You can now ride together, and you're still pedaling. At the end of the week, at the end of the days, you'll feel like you have been on a bike, but you're going to feel that you've been on a bike in such an enjoyable way that you're ready for as many miles as you can take. And it's a growing part of our business. About 45% of our guests are taking e-bike now. So what it does, it introduces people that have never done this tour, that maybe are a little uneasy about grabbing, going on a bike for the week. It's equalized abilities. So I mentioned people that travel together, that want to ride together, but may not necessarily have the same speed to them, or capabilities to them, or sustainability to them for each ride. They're now able to much easier to ride together. It's extended the career of people that previously may have not rode with us after age 60. We have people that are traveling with us much longer, and because of e-bikes, they're able to enjoy some of the parts of the world, some of our tours that maybe they had crossed off the list because they thought they're a little more too moderate or to the challenging side for them. So really great benefits to e-bikes. If you're thinking about it, we say get it. Worst case is, if you find you're unchallenged, you can always turn it off and it just becomes a heavier bike that doesn't have any motor engagement. But I've yet to see that happen on tour. What I've seen is people that get on tour wish they had got, or try one, wish they had ordered one, and then they're hooked, and they, on all subsequent tours, they want to grab an e-bike. We do limit the availability on e-bikes. Just the physical nature of carting them around is a lot different than say a bunch of road bikes or regular hybrid bikes. So we always say, when you're booking your tour through Bursch Travel, you want to just make sure if an e-bike is important to you, they can ask that right up front and make sure that it's available on that particular departure. We also use some great technology with Ride with GPS to kind of guide us through and keep our eyes on the road without fumbling through a bunch of paperwork on our bike. So I mentioned I did this tour that I'm going on next week. I did it in November. Wonderful, beautiful weather in Georgia and Florida. And we had a great group. We had 19 people. We had 2 great leaders. They were all decorated in St. Augustine for the holidays at that point. We stayed at Jekyll Island Club, a beautiful historical facility in southeastern Georgia. Lighthouse visits, uh, picnic lunches, kayaking was one of our activities that we did. We did out on a classic schooner in St. Augustine Bay during sunset. So we had a beautiful sunset sail with some wine and beer and some hors d'oeuvres out there in the harbor. It was wonderful. Farmland rides, great lodging. It's a rare time that we really use a chain lodging on a hotel. It's a nice little boutique Hilton. But the picture up in the corner with the sailboat is what you look at from your rooms and at the Hilton. So we really like to pick a great spot. Here's some shots from our first tour back after the 2020 pandemic year of missing everything from April on that year. We came back almost a year later, and we went to our Charleston to Savannah tour, and went off without a hitch, you know, for again being resting a little bit longer than we'd ever want to. But you can see those great Fuji bikes, wonderful leaders, everything's being taken care of for our guests. Food and all sorts of other cultural stops blended in there, picnic lunches, historic lodging, you name it. We had everything going on these tours, and this is typical for what you'd find not only domestically but internationally for our tours. Now, I mentioned self-guided. It's a fairly new product for us. It's about 2 years old as far as, you know, the actual launch of it. And we all know what 2 years ago was, so not a great year to launch a product. But last year in 2021, we really saw what it could do. And this is great for people that are pretty savvy around a bike, because some of the small repairs a leader would do, yeah, you would have to do yourself, but you're trained on it, you're orientated, you're fitted like you're going on a guided tour when you arrive. The bike is all going to be the same as you'd get on a guided tour, fit to your height, fit to your preference. And it's great for small groups. So we've had a lot of families that have done this, you know, with 20-something-year-olds, 30-something-year-olds, adult siblings, you name it. So they've decided that instead of traveling in a group experience, they really want to do these bike tours, but they'd rather just do it with their own traveling party. So, you know, 2 of them, 4 of them, 6 of them, and it's all coordinated. It's set departure dates for VBT self-guided biking. They include all the lodging, all the movement of you and your bike where needed. Your luggage, everything's going to be moved along for you, so you don't have to worry about that. You just ride like you're riding, you know, for the day. And then your custom road book. And again, we rely heavy on Ride with GPS for that product. And always the background support. So even though you won't have a leader right along with you, they're right there in the background. They're, again, ready to step in if something major happens to your bike, or you need some extra assistance. They're local to where you're going to be. Our third style I just want to run through real quick is our Vbt Waterways. Talk to you a little bit about it at the beginning of the section. We have great destinations. This newest one is Croatia Bike and Boat. And that's a little unique because it's not a barge and it's not a river cruise, but it's more of a small ship. It has masts on it, so it could sail if need be. We launched it in the fall of last year. Tremendous reviews, beautiful scenery, people out swimming in the Mediterranean around the Dalmatian Islands. Just a great way to travel. I've personally been on the barge tours as well. So we call them bike and boat, but they are, barge experiences. So we charter the barge, and you can see up here one of the barges. They used to officially haul metal and scrap up and down the canals in Amsterdam and other parts of Europe. And they've been converted into almost like a floating bed and breakfast. So it's not your traditional ocean liner cruise. It's not your luxurious river cruise, but it's really nice, functional, both cabins, dining room, honor bars, living space that you share with your other VBT guests. And what's really nice about our bike and boat is you only go on and you settle in for 7 nights on these. So you're not moving hotels a couple of times during the week like we would do on our typical land departures. So people like that. It's also really wonderful if you have someone that just, hey, I'm really into biking. My partner that I'm traveling with isn't that much into biking, but may want to dabble in it, but would really like to enjoy, the boat instead. The boat product is a great way to go for that. If you have kind of a non-biker and a biker, there's a little bit more to do on the boat products than they would on a typical land tour for if someone just flat out didn't want to ride a bike at all. You can see the river cruise, some great destinations, the Danube and Rhine. And then we do have a walking tour as well that we've attached to a departure also. So I just put it on that slide because it aligns more with this product than our country walkers slides would. But you can see wonderful, beautiful Emerald Cruises ships. So you're treated like a king and queen on there. And then you're coming to port and you're treated extremely well to your VBT bike experiences, off the bike activities, and then back to enjoy the cruise at the end of the day. Going to jump over to country walkers. A lot of similarities in the product. In fact, if you went into our office, it would be hard to tell who's working with country walkers and who's working with VBT, because a lot of it's backed up or the background support is the same. It really comes down to the nature of the activity that you're doing. And this has taken a while to kind of dial it in as the companies came together. But we've been able to really make it quite similar all the way through the experience. Just again, walking versus biking is the biggest difference. So we have guided walking, groups of no more than 20, although some destinations have maximums that are a lot lower. Most of the time, even though I say maximum, they're not running that as full. So if we hold 20, a typical year, most of our tours are 14 to 16. So very small, intimate type of groups that are going to be led by wonderful local guides. And then we have our self-guided product as well. So we go 59 tours, 30 countries, so a few less tour itineraries than we would get with VBT. The area that we cover is quite similar. There's a few little nuances that are different. Like in Asia, VBT would go to Vietnam, and we go to Japan walking, but a lot of the same similar destinations in Europe. And then in the United States, not quite as many tours that we offer with VBT, but still a really nice selection and a lot of tried and true tours that we've had in our lineup for quite a while. So they're really, really time tested, and there's no reason we see to take them out because they're still quite popular. So your Montanas, your Utahs, of course, Washington, Olympic Peninsula, and then a couple of self-guided options as well. The California self-guided has been in our self-guided lineup for 9 years since we launched that product. Activity is a little bit more important when you're selecting a country walkers tour. We know we've talked about how e-bikes can compensate a little bit for some of the activity on a bike tour, but on a walking tour, you don't have the e-bike, there's no e-walking shoes you can get. And the other thing you don't have is that support vehicle that's rolling along, those beautiful paths that you're walking on, as easy as it can do, with a VBT bike tour. So not to say that you're left out hanging out to dry all the time. If something's going on, the guides will certainly help out and make sure that you're comfortable. But the nature of it means that really, as you're selecting the tour and where you're going to go, you should make sure it's the appropriate activity level for your abilities. And most of what we do really ranks in the easy to moderate route levels. And you can see there's a lot of different ways that we look at it. A lot of people just automatically usually go to miles, but it could be the ups and downs, the sustained miles, other nuances that as our tour designers put these together become important, and they then will rate the tour. We do have a couple of more moderate to challenging walks, Mont Blanc being the most challenging. That's definitely a more of a hiking experience each and every day. For the most part, again, like I said, most of them are walking experiences. You walk at a reasonable pace. You're doing stops along the way, and most of them really go about 5 to 7 miles per day average if you went across all of our product lineup. Inclusions for guided, very similar to VBT, expert local guides, those great walks. I mentioned the typical mileage, always broken into segments, so you're not just doing big walks and ending it 2 hours, 3 hours later. You're breaking it up with these great activities that we're doing: wine tastings, food tastings, cooking classes, all sorts of activities that you're going to learn about the area you traveled to. Wonderful cuisine to pick up the local ingredients. This is my last walking tour I did, which was in Ireland. Beautiful, beautiful sunny Ireland in July of 2019. I mentioned that our groups, despite being able to go to 20, they often will be lower size than that. So in our case, we had 9 and 2 expert guides. One was really into history. One was into culture. Between the two of them, I came back learning so much about that part of Ireland that we were traveling to, and Ireland in general. I learned so much. I was at a family reunion in Boston, and it was quite a few Irish relatives that had come over from this particular area. And this was in about a month of me going. And I could just literally talk to them about their entire area like I lived there for part of my life. So I learned a lot from these guides. We had great scenery, we had some great experiences. This was a rare case where we did have a longer walk, but we added a jaunting cart so that if people were maybe feeling a little tired, or in this case, the gent in the middle had a blister going, he was able to jump in and take a little edge off as we went through the Gap of Dunlow. And you can see just some great smiling faces all the way through, excellent cultural stops, expert guidance, some great food. Ireland is not really known for its food too much, or was not, but boy, we had some great meals as we went through. Jump into self-guided walking. It's very similar to self-guided biking in that you're independently gonna to go on this. The biggest difference between walking and biking, mentioned biking has set departure dates, because we want to make sure we have the equipment, that it's fitted, that all the movements of the bikes are coordinated. They have that. Where walking, we can flex with this, so you can request any date over a large range of dates. It goes on request, so just because it's in that date doesn't mean it's automatically available, ready to go. But you can work with your travel advisor at Bursch, and you can say you have flexibility, you can go anytime within a 2-week period, or you're trying to fit a self-guided walking tour around maybe one of our guided tours or some other travel experience in Europe, the flexibility to pick a date that really works comes in quite handy. Going to include the great lodging, route notes, transfers of you and your luggage, some great dining. Always going to have breakfast with us, no matter what tour, where you go with us. And then you'll have other meals depending on the tour itinerary. So for instance, in Cornwall, England, which is a tour I'll hopefully be doing in May, that one we have a lot of more dinners mixed in because the nature of the dining, there's not a ton of choices in the places that we go to, and we don't want our guests to be left out there. And we, of course, incorporate some wonderful seafood all the way through. Air packages, I mentioned, they're a great way to conveniently enhance every product itself. Self-guided walking has a package. Self-guided walking has the ability to add on our special air discounted price, but for the other products, the package includes the international flights. You'll get transfers upon arrival, and then on the way out on your departure, you'll get a pre-night hotel, a post-night hotel. You'll get breakfast at those hotels. You'll get the opportunity to extend. So you could typically in 2-night increments, you can add on to the front or the back. So what it does, it makes this great package that all you literally have to do is show up to your airport and get on the plane, and then we'll take care of everything on the other end and get you back on that plane at the end of the trip, whether it's the standard air package or the extended air package. It's all going to be coordinated for you. One of the two great features of doing this, well, three really. One is you make your initial trip deposit. You don't pay for this air package until your final payment. So it gives you a little flexibility. You're not locked into an airline ticket that, you know, if you change your mind or something, destination or date, you're not locked into yet another credit to try to finagle. And it also allows you the ability to wake up in that hotel and eat your breakfast, and guess who's coming to you? It's going to be your guides and leaders that are going to start right in the lobby of that hotel, and you're going to venture out from there and typically into a vehicle to get to the countryside, but sometimes you'll do a city tour, walk to a point, pick up the vehicles, and then head out from there. So very convenient for joining the tour and at the end of the tour, leaving the tour. The biggest benefit I see is the price. When you look at our air add-on compared to our land only, you'll find that often all those elements that are in the regular basic air package, the extra hotel nights, transfers, all that, and your air ticket will cost less than the airline would charge for just an air ticket going, you know, internationally to Europe or other points beyond. Now, another nice thing that you get because you're going to book through Bursch Travel is we're part of Signature Travel Network, like them. We're a preferred supplier. So you get a nice little extra amenity for booking through them. $50 per guest to spend on some gear with our partner, New Headings. So they have some really nice hiking and biking type of gear, free shipping's included for your whole order. And just a nice little thank you, you know, from the Signature Travel Network advisors and agencies. And we're very happy and proud to be part of that network. They're really the best in the business. And I want to thank you. I know there's a lot of info that I talked about. I love talking about our products. I love experiencing our products. And I would definitely welcome any questions that anyone has. It'd be great to answer this.
Turns out I need to unmute myself. I didn't see any in the chat, but if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. With this nice small of a group, you can just chime right in. Glenn, that was great. You had me at e-bike. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Definitely
it's a
more
good
my
way to
speed.
go. In fact, I on my November tour, and I think I have it booked for next week. I did an e-bike, and it's Florida and Georgia, so it's not like super challenging riding. But what I like taking an e-bike so that I can ride with the fastest rider, the slowest rider, the guy or lady taking pictures, and I can just move around the tour very easy and interact with everybody. And that's what I see as a big benefit for me when I'm on tour.
Absolutely gives you some options, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And you do feel like you have accomplished something, but what you don't feel like is you're leaving the tour with so many aches and pains or anything like that. If you're not used to riding a bike, day after day for 4 or 5 days.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to give you 10 more seconds to jump up and down, unmute yourself, or throw it in the chat. Otherwise, again, thank you for joining us tonight. I know we went from having nothing to do for 2 years to now being incredibly busy and having all these great options. So Glenn, we really thank you for being a part of that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's great. Come out. They're really fun.
Absolutely. We will have this webinar posted on our website, which is www.burschtravel.com. You can also find it on our YouTube page. If you have any questions after the fact, we will follow up with an email so you can send those questions directly to us. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you all again. Have a great night. Bye, guys.
Take care. Thank you.